We had a community member asking about DCAing into the market, out of the market. What are the best strategies actually for somebody who wants to deploy their money into crypto and also want to walk away with it? So in this video, I want to give you my view on how you can best do that. And I think that this is so important, especially when people think about DCAing. They think about getting into the market, right? Just get into the market and then we'll see. As long as we catch low prices, we're fine. It's a little more than that, actually. So let's take a look at that. Welcome to the FOMO Factory. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell notification on, of course. Check out the Alpha Factory down below, because if you want to get on a call with me where we can just talk together for an hour, like, hey, maybe, you know, I would do this or I would do that. Possible, right? Maybe have a different opinion. Would have helped me a lot in the past. So make sure to check it. Now, small update on the market. It's new week, same bull market, right? Bitcoin had a little correction at first, and people were talking mainly about the correction, but I feel like, man, what happened, right? What happened? Well, Bitcoin went from 112 to 107 basically. And yeah, like if that's something that should scare us, then I think then this market is going to be a tough ride. Actually, Bitcoin went down with 5% basically. Yeah, that's like normal stuff, right? So, but the long-term uptrend is still intact. Even if you look on the short term, actually, then you can see that, you know, we are in an uptrend since May 12 here on the 4-hour chart. Even if it tags like, yeah, I would say 104, then it would have been a higher low still, right? But we made a higher low way higher than that at 107. So that just looks really healthy to me, actually. Now, the month of May is almost coming to an end. And what's also pretty interesting is you can see that, you know, still a lot can happen in the coming week, but as long as Bitcoin closes above $102,500, it will be the highest monthly close for Bitcoin ever, right? So that's something which could only be helpful. We have a lot of room right there, but as we just saw, you know, 5%, 10% corrections, man, they occur, right? Like we can still get below it. That would not necessarily mean for me that it's all going to be bearish. I mean, we're sitting at an all-time high. How can I talk about something bearish right now for Bitcoin when we are in pretty much price discovery, right? Longer term, slightly longer term outlook is if we do go into price discovery, if you look like the last, like Bitcoin goes into these steps, right? Elevator up, then on a rolling band, and then again, maybe a little stare down, but overall, that's the steps, right? Up, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways, and sideways, also a little down. That's just what BTC does. If you look at the last move, then you can see that we came pretty much to the 2.618. Yeah, if you look at this current move right now and you see where the 2.618 is sitting, that's sitting at $166,000. I would say let's go for the 1.618 first. But even that's sitting at around 130K. So over the longer term, when we are really in price discovery, we have to really go for a sustainable breakout, right? It's peaking above right now, but it's not a real sustainable breakout yet. Once we do, I think that 130K is the next big target, actually. So overall, bullish market. And again, if you look at the total crypto market, also looking very fine, right? We make higher highs, we make higher lows. We're sitting above the 2021 high. Bitcoin is really trying to let that behind it. I cannot be bearish on this chart at all, right? I mean, even it's slightly different, of course, but when we had the 2017 peak right here, when we went above it in 2021, we even had a little struggle and retest, etc. right there, and then we went for new all-time highs. Yeah, and it's kind of what the market is doing right now as well. We go above it, we struggle a little bit. This time we went a little below it again, but overall, the momentum is still very much in the bull's favor. So it can be bearish on that. So therefore, I would say, like, hey, it's important that if you look at, to DCA in, out, whatever, you want to know what you're DCAing into at least, right? If you have no clue, like, hey, is this market looking bearish or bullish or whatever, then why even consider, buying into it? In my opinion, it is looking very, very bullish. Well, in my opinion, the charts are just saying like, hey, it looks bullish, right? So then you have a better understanding of what type of market you're actually DCAing into. I think that's super important. Now, if we look at the altcoin market, because people, they don't want to, I think, DCA into Bitcoin right now, at least not for, flipping this cycle. I'm DCAing into Bitcoin, but that's my 10 years plus plan, basically. And I have no interest in buying Bitcoin right now, selling it for 2x higher maybe, and then, that's a longer term game, right? So therefore you want to look at altcoins, and you can see that, again, the total crypto market is sitting at highs, basically. Right now, if you look at others' dominance, the altcoin dominance, it is sitting at cycles lows, basically, right? Is that weird? It's nothing weird, right? If you look at the total crypto market right here, when the total crypto market was breaking out, others' dominance also had a good leg down, right? Here it was a low, here it was a higher low, here it's a more of a double bottom. Overall, the structure is not that different, actually, and that suggests to me like, hey, we don't even like the word alt season is maybe a little overused, overrated, right? We will probably get one, but do we need one? In my opinion, we don't even need one, really. And why do I say that? Is, again, there's so much money. Look at Bitcoin. It's sitting at 110K, right? Last time we had an alt season, Bitcoin was sitting at 30K. Now it's 110. It's 4 times as high. Right, so there's 4 times as much liquidity to take from BTC to put into alt. So yeah, the Bitcoin dominance will probably go down, but it doesn't even have to go down that much, right? And yeah, therefore, if you look at others' dominance, let's say that this is the range, right? This is the top of the range. This is the downside of the range. Breaking down is bad, I guess. Breaking up is alt season. And in the meantime, it's just ranging. What if it just keeps ranging, right? And we go back to 12%. Yeah, with the current money in the market, 12% of the total crypto market is, of course, way more over here than what 12% was over here, right? So therefore, the others' dominance doesn't even have to break out, right? Again, if you overlay the total crypto market, yeah, here altcoins were dominating with 12%, while the whole market was sitting at like, what was it, 50 billion, right? Here they can go to 12%, while the whole market is sitting at 3, 4, 5 trillion, right? Like, that's such a difference. So therefore, I think it's just a matter of rotation. What I said before, the money is already here. The hard part is done, right? Getting the money into crypto. Plus, the crypto market is probably a little bigger than this, because a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum, etc., is also being bought OTC, right? And that's not included in here, right? So it's more than this even. So I think that this altcoin market will do crazy, actually. Now, when it comes to DCAing, I don't have the right answer, because there is no right answer, in my opinion, because every situation is different, right? You are not me, I am not somebody else. That just doesn't work like that. But what I can tell you is how I approach it. And I think that my approach so far, it makes me comfortable. It makes me make money. It makes me not lose a lot of money. I'm very happy with this. Right now, you have to know first, what's your goal, right? If you have no goal, then what are you doing? Okay. If you have 0 goals and you feel like, you know what, I'm gonna just buy and I'm gonna see when I'm gonna sell. Yeah, that's the recipe to round trip, right? So first, set your goal. Look at the money that you have and be like, what do I want to make? And is that realistic to do that with this amount of cash? If it is, great. Then you can set your goal. If it isn't, then you either have to lower your standards or have to do a little bit more, right? And what do I mean with a little bit more? you can try to, if you, for example, look at the altcoin market, you can buy and you can hold, right, to reach your goal. That's fine. But you can also say like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit more active, actually. I'm going to buy the range lows and I'm going to sell the range highs, partly, right? Because it could break out. I'm going to buy the range lows again. I'm going to sell. Like that way, you can like triple your altcoin bag while the market is pretty much going sideways, right? And then whenever it goes up, yeah, you make a lot more money. Right? You can also say to yourself like, hey, I'm gonna shuffle coins. So I have a lot of ETH, but I want more Dogecoin. How's Dogecoin looking against ETH, right? Doesn't matter what the dollar does. That way you can make more coins. And eventually if the market goes up, then you will notice on your dollar valuation. Right? You can do the same with Bitcoin altcoins. Although I think that the bigger trade is a little off the table as Bitcoin is already sitting, you know, quite high. And I think that, you know, these are some real short-term trades. Right? So that might be a little dangerous because over trading is also a mistake. I think that if you want to do the longer term trading, right? Looking by this chart, the altcoin market, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy. That's it. Couple trades in 2 years time, right? And you don't have to buy the exact bottom and sell the exact top. But if you just buy whenever things are low, right? DCA over time, DCA out over time when things are high, combine it with some indicators, with the fear and greed, with whatever, right? You will do pretty fine, right? And then you make these big trades. But often you will notice that the best trade is no trade. What I would do in two cases. So if you want to DCA, right? You have DCA in, DCA out. When it comes to DCAing in, there are two ways. You can see the amount of cash that you have right now and be like, hey, I'm a DCA that in. You can also say like, hey, I have a income, right? You have a job, for example. Most people do, right? And you want to DCA that money in, but you have to do that over time. So these are two ways of DCAing, and I will go over both of them. And then there are also ways to DCA out. And I think that that's easier, actually. But let's talk about DCAing in first, right? So when it comes to DCAing into the market with an amount that you have right now, let's say you now have $1,000. Let me talk in the me form, right? Let's say I have $1,000 and I'm new in crypto. I have $1,000. And I feel like, okay, I want to slowly deploy that into the altcoin market. Cool. Again, first thing, I have a goal, right? What do I want? I want to, 10x my $1,000, right? If I want to go with 100x, fine. Also okay. But again, then you have to take a fuckload of risk and you'll probably end up with zero at the end of the road. And it would be a waste, actually, if you can now turn 1,000K into 10,000K, in the next cycle you can that 10,000K into 100K, right? Then you also have 100X. Takes a little longer, but you at least have it, right? I think that a lot of people, they want it too fast, and that's where it's going wrong, actually. So I have 1,000K right now, $1,000 right now, and I want to make a 10X. I want to be a little active, maybe, but not too much. I have a job, right? I have more to do. But I also don't want to be too passively. I want to be a little on top of it, right? I think we are all kind of in the middle when it comes to that. Cool. You don't necessarily have to look for alts that can do a 10x, right? Because what's the problem right there? Well, people look at it like this. Aerodrome. Can it do a 10x from this point, right? Well, one, it could, right? But you're not sure, of course. Two, are you really going to buy here and sell exactly here? Right? We talk about DCAing, you remember? So the goal is not, could it do a 10x? It's more like, could I get a 10x out of it? And that's completely different. So I would say, get a list of alts that you believe in for this cycle, right? That you think are going to do well. Now, again, get the bigger picture first, right? If you believe like alts will die and etc., yeah, then I don't know what you're trying to do, aiming for a 10x in this market anyway at this point, right? Then you have to wait for the next bear, get into Bitcoin and ride that first, and then you can make simple 2x on alts, and then you're also there, right? But yeah, again, if I look at Bitcoin being that high, the total crypto market being that high, the Bitcoin dominance sitting really high, suggesting that it has more down than upside to me, then it's for me clear like, hey, quality alts will run. And even better, if you look at others, right? So, or others Bitcoin, so the altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair, there are people saying like, hey, altcoins are long-term bleeders against Bitcoin. I respectfully disagree. If you look at this, the major lows these are higher lows, right? Within a bear market, of course, there are low lows, but overall, there are higher lows. So this is the top 125, excluding the top 10. That's over time, since the beginning, basically getting stronger, right? So therefore, I would say also like, don't even look too far outside of the top 125. Apart from the risk that there is, it shows also that the top 125 has the reward, even against Bitcoin, right? Now, that's pretty insane, again, if you look how the Bitcoin chart is looking, right? So don't underestimate high caps. That's my biggest tip that I can give. Right now, let's go with an AVAX, for example. If I have $1,000, I would honestly say I'm gonna deploy based on how bullish I am on the market, right? And keep something in cash in case it goes down, because hey, it's still crypto, right? At all times. So I would say I would deploy like 70% of my cash that I have right now, right, into the market right now, 70, 80%, right? That's just for me, because 20, 30% cash feels very comfortable. Let's say 80%, 80-20. If I deploy that into AVAX right now, for example, and I would suggest if you have $1,000, get maybe 2-3 coins, right? I'm not here to call the coins. But I would do that right now, because if the market plays out how I read it from the charts, then riding it up with 80% of my money makes a big difference in my portfolio. Let's say the market goes down with a big crash again, right? Could always happen. Let's say AVAX goes down 50%, whatever. Then it goes to $10, right? Then deploying 20%, so $200 at this price is very decent, actually. Because if it then goes back up to, let's say, cycle highs, right? Just to cycle highs, that's already 6xing my $200, right? And the rest of the capital, but already 6xing my $200, right? It's $1,200. So only with that 20%, I already make more than I have in my complete portfolio right now. That's a good ratio for me, right? And it makes you feel better, actually. If it dips, you feel like, oh yeah, you know, I don't mind, I have cash. Whether you actually deploy it or not, it just feels comfortable knowing that you have cash in case it does go down. All right, so that's what I would do with the cash that I would have right now. Deploy about 70-80% into quality altcoins right now. Don't look too far down the risk curve. Like, it's not worth it at this stage of the cycle, and you don't need to. Again, there are relative safe altcoins that have made fantastic moves from the recent lows, actually. So why would you gamble extra, right? Now, if I have a monthly income, I would just say like, hey, until when do I think that this run is going to last, the rest of the cycle, basically? I would take that monthly income and I would DCA it weekly into crypto, right? So if I have $500 monthly extra, I would just take 125 and deploy it every week, right? Why? Because in a month, a lot can change, and you can buy a good top or you can buy a good bottom, but that takes away the definition of DCAing a little bit. I think DCAing monthly is only nice and helpful if you want to do that for multiple years. But for the rest of this cycle, which may take half a year, slightly more, I would say try to do it weekly, actually. And then, you know, whatever this chart does, it doesn't matter, right? Again, if you go back to the previous cycle and you've been DCAing weekly here, right? You bought here, but you bought here, right? This is a weekly chart, but you bought here. You take this whole zone, right? You even buy this stop, but that's completely fine, right? Your average will be sitting somewhere here. And then when it goes up, that's like the beauty of it. So for how long should you DCA? Yeah, I would say, like, man, whenever things are going too parabolic and it's getting really close to the end of this year, I would say then maybe consider DCAing out. And that depends then on how you are sitting on your profits, right? If you're still sitting at a 2x by then and your goal is 10x, I would say, like, okay, maybe try to take a little more risk and DCA in a little more for now. But if you're already sitting at an 8x by then, I would say start to DCA out, right? That's very simple. Now, how do you DCA out? Again, you can do that over time. You can do it time-wise, right? So far, this market shows like, hey, tops out, end of post-halving year, end of post-halving year, end of post-halving year. And so far, again, it is showing us like, hey, you know, until the day of today, it's not different. Could it be a little more to the right? I would not count it out, as the whole business cycle is a little later this time with a couple months. But I would also not bet on it and wait with all my money for that to happen. So I would say what I'm gonna do, if I would do it time-wise, I'd say like, yeah, starting Q4, just DCA out, right? Like you will, like the same as this cycle right here. You would have sold a little in, you know, October, September, October, November, December, right? Maybe a little in January, maybe a little in February. And overall, you have a pretty good exit, right? You should completely forget the sentence, time the top or time the bottom. You won't do that anyway, right? If you bought somewhere here and sold somewhere here, you did perfect. If you sold the top, you are either lucky or stupid. And why stupid? Well, I mean, if you try to time it, there is a chance that it works, but there's a bigger chance that it doesn't work. Why would you risk all your money on that, right? I would not do that. Absolutely not. Then there's, of course, the GTFO platform, and there's a link down below. Again, it's free. I know link down below sounds scary, but it's free. It's made by a community member in the L Factory. You don't even have to sign up. You can just use it. And I would really recommend it, right? What I did, I put my coins in there. And when I was in a non-emotional, clear-minded state, I said to myself, AIOZ, cool. My average is 30 cents. In this specific case, I have no idea why I bought this. So I set my selling targets really low on this one because I just want to get rid of this thing. But I said to myself, you know what? At 39 cents, I'm going to sell some. At 52 cents, at 92, and at 183. And that's based on some TA, etc. that I did. But this helped me. Like, it flashed when it was 39 cents. And I saw that, and I was like, hey, that's the agreement that I made with myself. Like, hey, this is where I should sell. So I sold a little bit. And when it was 52, same story. I sold a little bit. And then you can see this is my average entry, the blue line. And I've sold here. I sold a little above that. And my average exit is now 47 cents. So I'm in, you know, I took my profit out for a part already. Right, and I made this. If you have coins that you fill in right here, you can say I cannot show it because it's already all in a plan. But you can say like, hey, I want to sell at this price. I want to sell at this price, right? And then it shows you exactly like, okay, cool. Then at the end of the day, this is what you actually walk away with, right? But you can also say, I want a target, and then you can fill in like, hey, I want to get a 10x. And then it shows you a whole list with selling with prices where you need to sell to actually walk away with a 10x. Because again, if you want to DCA out and you want to get a 10x at the end of the day, then the coin probably has to do like a 15 or 20x for you to actually walk away with that, right? And that's why a lot of people maybe make a mistake that, like I said, they want a 10x, so they just look at a coin and be like, oh, that if that can do a 10x, you won't time the top, right? That's not how it works. So that's that's kind of the passive way, actually, right? Just buy over time and sell over time. You should never look at a coin like, for example, AVAX, and be like, well, when it gets here, then I'm gonna start buying. Okay, if you're new to crypto, right? Or if you maybe not new, but you are not, deployed yet, whatever. Then what if it doesn't go down here? Then you miss out, like same as here, right? You may have felt like, oh yeah, when it hits $5, I'm gonna buy. And what if it got down to 9, right? And you never bought. And you'd be like, okay, yeah, it's just ranging again. Oh, another green candle, start sweating. Okay, let's see one more week what it does, right? And the next week it's sitting here and you'd be like, okay, you miss out on a complete bull run. And you could say like, well, then I'm gonna buy the way up. Look how much you missed. And there's a good chance that you eventually buy the top somewhere, right? Like $80 here, and then it goes down to 50, you're scared, right? You panic sell, and then it goes up again, and you're getting wrecked in the bull market. That happens. Like to most people, actually, not a lot, like most people get wrecked in a bull market. Yeah, let me be clear. We have bear markets for that, guys. Like, you don't need to do that in a bull market. You know how terrible that would feel. In a bull market, everybody loses money, right? That's normal. But in a bull market, if you dare lose money, then you feel like, man, then there's no hope for me. Like, right? Like, then what should I do? So I would say don't wait for lower targets. If you are really bullish on an asset, just buy, then just deploy a little bit already to at least have exposure. Because what if it goes up? You at least have something to ride up, right? But again, if it does go down, make sure that you still have money in case it goes down. Now, like I said, you can trade ranges, right? Like I showed on the channel a couple times. What I'm doing actually is I'm gonna have my crypto bag and I have stable bag, but I basically look at this range for the altcoin market, right? And at a certain point, the trend will break, but hey, as long as it doesn't, then why go against it? So whenever it gets back, well, let's say around the lower side of this trend line might be a good time to get in a couple coins that you feel like maybe I'm a little underexposed, or I want to increase my or decrease my average entry, or I don't even have this coin yet and I want to get some exposure, right? And we are pretty close to it. You don't, again, have to time it. But when we are at the top of this range, then I'm going to offload a decent position. And it doesn't matter, like it will sound a little hypocritical, like, but hey, FOMO, you said your targets are way higher. Yeah, I have higher targets, definitely. But then again, I'm not going to fight the range. Right? I'm not going to fight the trend. I took profits here and here. That made me able to buy back low here and here. Right? And therefore, I have a lot more coins right now than I had back then. So now when the market goes up, my portfolio goes crazy. Right? And that's what you should be prepared for. We saw so many people like being scared over here. And it's not because they thought it was over. It's because they were all in and they bought the top maybe, or didn't buy right here. They didn't take profits. And at the lows, they were scared that it was over because they were fully deployed. Yeah. And then your emotion is going to take over, and that's where you're going to fuck up. So when it comes to DCAing out, the goal is to reach your goal, right? My goal is a 4x something at this point, right? So I've set my orders for Wild World, for example. My average price is 8 cents, right? So I said to myself, right, at 32, I'm gonna sell. At 44, at 57, and at 80, I'm gonna sell, right? that would make me walk away in total with a 4.8x, right? Does it mean that I think that Wild World won't go higher than 80 cents? I mean, if I look at the chart for Wild, then I'd be like, okay, you know, if this was the non-alt season high, basically, right, 120, then why the fuck would I expect it not to go higher than 80 cents in an alt season, right? Doesn't make sense. But then again, there are no guarantees. Plus, why would I gamble on it if I can reach my goal like this? Again, the goal is to reach your goal. That's it. If I miss out on the biggest gains while I did at least reach my goal, you will never hear me complain, right? If I make 5 million bucks, if that's my goal, but I could have made 50, yeah, I mean, of course, sucks, too bad. But would I like be sad about it or be like, oh, fuck? Hell no, I reached my goal. What am I complaining about, right? But what I did do, I make my selling plans based on about 80% of the coins that I have, right? So I use, in this case, 80% of my wild to reach that goal. I have a HODL reserve right here of 20%, right? And what's that? That's my moon bag, basically, right? So even with this 80% of my wild world, I can reach my goal. And then in case everything goes completely nuts, I still have 20%. Right? Because again, my goal is 4 or 5x. If it reaches that, then it means that this value is also 4 or 5x higher. Right? Yeah, and 5x higher. Again, if my complete portfolio now with 20% goes 5x higher, that means my portfolio doubles. So, I don't know. Not bad. Right? And if I reach my goals, which I set for some alts pretty conservative, and then it goes down, yeah, then I'm all right at 20% down. Maybe I'm gonna sell somewhere by then if I really think that the market has stopped out or whatever. But even if I write it all down, too bad, but my goal is reached, right? And I think it is super important that you realize first what your goal is. I've been in 2013, I bought Bitcoin, $400. What was it? I don't know. But I saw it was sitting at $800 at a certain point, and it was a lot of money for me, so I sold them, right? Yeah, I can now buy a pretty decent car for that $800 that I sold back then, right? Or a house, partly. But I didn't know what I was doing. 2017, I wrote alt season, right? But I had no goals. I did not know what I was doing as well. I saw my money go up, but especially back then, I did not know where I was going, right? I saw my money increasing, like, whoa, like crazy. But yeah, if I had a clear goal, I would have taken some out probably. But I didn't do that, so I wrote it all the way down again. 2021, I did better. I did pretty okay. But I still did not have a very clear goal. And I wrote some decent amounts down again as well. And that was purely because I had no clear goal as well. Now I have a goal. And I already sold some of my positions. Right? And you might be like, again, that's too soon. Yeah, maybe compared to the top wherever it might be. But it's not too soon for me. And that's what matters. So I hope that helps. Let me know down below. If you do like the video, again, if you want me to help you with your portfolio, not financial advice, of course, but if you want somebody to look at it, maybe give another opinion about it. Is it too spread out? Are you having problems with selling too soon, too late? Not knowing when to get, like, I can take a look with you. You can get on a text with me, on a call, whatever you prefer. Makes me help realizing that I am talking to people more instead of just a camera. So for me, it's also growing. And yeah, man, in the meantime, therefore, check the Alt Factory. And there's way more there, right? There's a lot of free money in there, by the way. So it's free, and the first 3 days as well. So if you don't like it, you can just go away again, no problem. For now, if you want to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.